Hi, I'm BD Dalton from Rockfine Group and founder of the BullRing, which is Birmingham's answer to the Dragon's Den and Shark Tank. It's an entrepreneur showcase that allows people to show off their businesses, talk to investors and possible future partners, and even clients, either over Zoom or in person. What's in it for you? One, if you're an entrepreneur, you're going to learn what else is out there, what problems people are running into, and also what investors and clients are looking for in new products. If you're a person that wants to invest, you're going to see what's happening out there and what type of companies are looking for partnerships or things that they can be invested in or actually receive money for. The BullRing trains you up a week ahead of time to walk through your 5-minute pitch. You get to do that with the other pitchers. You get to see what they're doing right, what they're doing wrong. Then, on the day, you get your 5-minute pitch to sometimes 75 to 100 different people that will either know more about your company as a client, as a potential partner, or even a potential investor. Our pitchers have had the opportunity to partner up with Microsoft, Amazon, some of the big gaming names, and even some potential European big boys. If you're just somebody from the general public and you want to know what's happening here in Birmingham and the wider Midlands, then you'd come along to see what's happening for businesses that are startup or scale up. Hey everybody, welcome out to the BullRing for October. And I'm gonna get ready to start this off. Here we go. BD Dalton, and I am the founder of the BullRing along with my team here at Rockfine. I've got Mike Pagan in the room, I've got Michelle, and we've got a great showcase here for you today. So let's talk about the BullRing. We have the Bulls. These are the people that you need to hear from. They've either been there, done that. They're investors, they're business owners, they're people that really want to see entrepreneurs function and flow in this world. Our bulls are not like dragons. They're not here to boost their own egos, to boost their own agendas. They're here to make everybody else look good, to give you the questions that if you're going to invest, or if you're going to pitch to somebody else, or if you're going to make something else happen, they give you the right questions. We've got some great names in the house today. Previously, we've also had the founder of the PlayStation. We've had the head of Warner Brothers. We've had all sorts of people. So today you're going to get to hear from 3 great bulls talking about what pitches should look like if they're seeking investment. We've had pitchers from all over the world, from technology to food to software as a service. All these things have been out there and come through the BullRing to get evaluated and to get great feedback, and sometimes even investment. And because of Zoom, I know that COVID was a horrible thing, but everybody made it through and everybody wanted to be online again. Everybody wanted to make sure that they could get involved and get engaged. So we started off just being in Birmingham. Now we're global. We have bulls, pitches, viewers, everything from all over the globe. So this is your chance to see what's happening. We record it so that you can see it afterwards too. What makes this engaging? Hopefully you're seeing me, BD Dalton. I'm leading this for you. You get this, it's a timed pitch, 5 minutes. That's all they get. And Mike will talk to us in a second about the performance angle of it. But then you get bulls feedback. So we've got it. Once the pitch is done, then each of the bulls gets to give feedback about what they saw, either that was great or needed improvement. And then guess what? You get to participate too. You get to give us a show of hands to show us what you thought about the pitch, whether it's investable or not, if you understood what it was all about. And today we've added the new spots, 2 things. So bulls don't get scared. We actually have the big Olay, which is the top bull for feedback today. So of the 3, we've got Alex, we've got Rupert, we've got Vikki, who gave the best feedback, who was most constructive, made that. So it's that overall cheerleader, that overall great thing. So I know Rupert has some dour side to him sometimes, but he sometimes comes through with a big smile. And then the second thing is top pitch. Today we have 2 pitches, great people. So you get to choose at the end of this who you believe was the top pitch today. You're not picking on anybody. You're just showing it in your opinion. Who was the top pitch? So that leading in is Mike. Let's talk about pitch perfect practice. Let's talk about why 5 minutes is so challenging. Over to you, Mike.
The hardest part of 5 minutes is you don't have time to go into waffle and go off on stories all over the place. You've got to engage and connect in those 5 minutes. And we do challenge the hockey stick curve of, yes, we're just this size now, but in 2 years' time, we'll have global domination. So things like that get pulled apart and challenged. The other part of this as well, this is on Zoom. Clearly, you've all logged into that. Presenting to a camera lens the size of your little fingernail. With zero response and zero interaction, it does make it tough. So this is about a performance today. Or both these guys who are presenting, that they are there to engage, connect, and try and generate the conversation afterwards, which is, that was interesting. Can we talk about? Or I know, or I've got somebody else, or actually I think I can help. This is about generating interest. That is the real target from today. In just 5 minutes, without going off on tangents, focused, excitable, engaged, enjoyable.
Perfect. Thank you, Mike. So let's practice now. So if we can put up the poll, you guys are going to get a chance to practice because this is your audience feedback. So here's your bull ring test. I've never been to a bull ring. Or how many bull rings have you been to? I'm a noob. This is my first time. I'm so excited. This is one time before, 2 to 3. I come here all the time because I don't have a life. I mean, I really enjoy watching pitching. Same thing here with the bull ring showcase and that. So we're practicing this to see how fast you can be. We're at 50% in the first 26 seconds. Typically, we get to about 32 seconds and everybody's answering. So we're firing through. So we got that. We will end the poll and share the results, and this will show you. So you're a noob. So we've got quite a few people here, so that's not too bad. Then we've got how many have we had in the answer? That how many pitchers have it's 100 plus. So we've had that many people go through the bull ring and all of our and once again, you guys didn't. Jeff Bezos did call me, but I told him we wouldn't sell the bull ring to him. Well, he's just going to have to come back with a bigger check. So thank you very much for participating in that. But now you're not here just to listen to me. You're here to listen to the Bulls give feedback. So I'm going to introduce you to our Bulls. The first one is Vikki. Vikki, so if you could come in and tell us a little bit about you, your background, and what you look for in your investments and pitchers and things like that. So Vikki Sylvester, over to you.
Yeah, so hi, welcome to everybody. So my name's Vikki Sylvester, and I started my own business 22 years ago and then listed that business with a group of other SMEs. So currently I sit on the board of a corporation called MBH Corporation and also still run my original business as well as a few other hats. But predominantly my background is education and healthcare. And what I'm looking for the Bulls is for the pitchers is I do really believe that investment is in the person as much as the business idea. So I'm really looking to see how we can connect and how the pitchers can connect with us today.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Vikki. Now over to you, Alex Balderstone. So you from Kaiku. It says co-founder here, co-founder of Kaiku. So you guys are an investment platform and get things ready. So if you could tell us a little bit about what you look at and see out there in pitch land.
Absolutely. Thanks a lot, BD. So I'm one of the co-founders at Kaiku. Kaiku works with over 300 VC funds, investment funds worldwide to help them find deal flow. And it's an interesting time at the moment. I think it's obvious we're sort of in a bit of a downturn, but we're still seeing a lot of dry powder out there going on, getting a lot of mandates to be able to help a lot of those funds invest into the UK, EU, and everything like that. And so hopefully some of our questions today can sort of de-risk some of your future conversations with investors.
Perfect. Thank you very much. And last but not least, Rupert from the ARC, funding background, does a lot of stuff in the Midlands, works along with Kevin Cayley and quite a few different people. But over to you, Rupert, to talk to us about what you're looking for in pitch land.
Hi, everyone. Rupert Lyle. Yeah, as it says there, 25 years in the VC private equity world. Since 2016, I've been doing my own thing, plural, as Alan Layton called it. So I'm an angel. I've started a couple of businesses, one of which in the hospitality space, which is fun at the moment. I also advise a couple of venture capital funds. I think the key thing for me this afternoon is how you tell the equity story. Entrepreneurs spend all their life stuck in the detail with the muck and bullets flying around. And in actual fact, if you're thinking about raising funding, the first thing that people go for is hearts and minds. It's the trailer for a movie. It's the cover of a book. It's what you say and how you do it and how you say it that grabs people's attention. Thereafter, it's all down to the granularity. It's about the product or the service, the people, the market, and the fundamentals. But I want to hear a story. I want people to get my heart and mind racing. So that's what I'm looking for this afternoon.
That's perfect. I think Jim Sherry shared a post the other day that said, entrepreneurship's like riding a bike, but the bike is on fire, the ground is on fire, the tires are on fire, and you're just trying to put the fire out.
Yeah.
So it's that fight that we have to go through, but getting everybody to cheer you on to put out the fire is an amazing thing. So you're here to listen to the pitchers. So first up, we're going to have Rohan come on, and I'm going to stop sharing my screen. But we've got Rohan from the One Food Club. Rohan's dialing in. I told you we're global, dialing in from Valencia. So Valencia, Spain, and he's going to start sharing his screen. And remember, this is a 5-minute pitch. Rohan, I am brutally honest when I tell you I will jump in and turn off your screen. The hook will fly out at 5 minutes. But Rohan, we're going to get you on the screen and ready to talk. You're there. You had it up. And so I will turn on the clock and we will start our 5 minutes now.
Thank you so much, Biddy. And thank you so much, BullRing, for this opportunity. I'm a personal fan of Kaiku and so many other things that I got to know about. Hi, we are One Food Club, the healthy meal app for healthy you. I'm Rohan Saraf, the CEO of One Food Club. Meet Anna. Anna is among the 62% of Brits who recently switched to a healthy eating. She earns 30,000 pounds a year and she's about 35 years old. Anna's problem? Eating healthy is difficult. She ends up spending a fortune. It's expensive for her. It's scarce, it's limited, it's difficult to find the organic options. And not to forget, she ends up wasting extra time shopping, cooking, cleaning, and whatnot. The solution, One Food Club, an app that delivers freshly chef-cooked batch meals with 100% organic, healthy, and sustainable ingredients. Our meals are delivered weekly to your doorstep in a cold packaging at affordable prices and with unique flavors from all over the world. As you can see in the demo, we give the capacity to customize your meal plans depending on the number of members, the number of meals, the size, the quality, and that flexibility leads us to capturing a market which is supposed to be, is predicted to be growing 20% cumulative annual growth rate up to year 2028. The total market calculated for this in the United Kingdom is 1.5 billion, and the global meal kit market is about 64.4 billion. What's notable that this market has seen 55 times more surge in healthy interest in the last 5 years, and the customer lifetime value of one subscriber for one subscription period is about 2,810 pounds. So where do we stand in the competition? I mean, we all know there's Gusto, the famous recipe delivering startup, and then there's Just Eat, the mammoth food delivery takeaway.com company, and not to forget Aldi. And surprisingly, with these three major players with a combined worth of 100 million pounds, we found a competitive advantage in 4 main areas. Number 1, we're 100% healthy, organic, and sustainable. Number 2, yes, like Just Eat, we are also ready to eat, but our foods are fresher than theirs. Number 3, we are zero carbon, zero plastic, and zero waste business model from ground zero. And lastly, we have an app which will focus on engaging the user with gamification and with the shared values. So here's a glimpse of what we're going to do. Our business model is a climate smart app where we will be launching our first niche diet, vegan. And under that, there will be, these are some of the plans that we'll be launching, like £49.99 a week, and for 5 to 10 meals a week for people who would like to cook their own meals on the weekends, and £89.99 for 7 to 14 meals who are lazy and who don't want to cook at all. our future launch niche diets would be vegetarian, Mediterranean, keto, paleo, and different personalized diets as well. So what is the secret sauce? Well, in compared to the famous, some of the biggest failures in the market, like for example, Gorillas and some companies like, Deliveroo, we have our unit economics profitable from day one because we have a capacity to cook 500 to 1,000 meals from 10 different recipes at the same time, and that cuts down the cost to the minimum. And we have a changing reusable meal container strategy in which there won't be any waste or any plastic whatsoever. And in fact, we'll end up making more money. Lastly, combining 7 to 14 meals into one packaging cuts down our logistic friction point, and we end up becoming profitable from day one. So here are some of our numbers from our past project, Vegan Food Club, which was focused only on one diet, that's vegan. We, since launched in 2021 until now, we have sold 180,000 meals. We have garnered a revenue of 810,000 pounds. And in the process, we managed to save 711 tons of CO2 and animals, and also millions of liters of water. Here are some testimonials from our past projects. We have 4.5 Trustpilot rating and 4.6 Google review ratings from more than 500 customers. And our roadmap starts with raising a pre-seed round by end of this year and ends with 1 million happy OFC customers across Europe and beyond. Lastly, this is the team behind this project. Myself, Rohan Saraf. I come from 4 generations of cooks from India. My great-grandfather cooked for Royal Maharajas, and I worked in Google and another super app called Jeff. And lastly, I founded and sold my first startup, VFC, successfully in Spain. And my advisor here, financial advisor, is Luigi Lubelli, a person with more than 35 years of experience in finances. And he has worked at CFO. He's worked with Citi and Morgan Stanley, and he also runs School of Rock in Pozuelo. So the team behind this project collectively has 55 years of industry experience and expertise in food tech and marketing. And we are looking forward to raise 250K by end of this year, which will we will invest in product development, releasing a beta, and finding a product fit, and hiring a key staff. So that's my time. Thank you so much for the opportunity. If you needed more details about the financial projection and etc., we can be contacted by this email, and the copy will be with BD. Thank you so much, BD.
Perfect. 5:05. I let you have 5 extra seconds because that was a great pitch. So thank you very much for sharing that. I think we'll bring in, we'll start off with Vikki. So Vikki, if you'd come in and give some feedback for Rohan, questions and maybe some tips.
Yeah, great pitch, Rohan, by the way, because I can imagine it's quite nerve-wracking doing that. It was a great pitch and it was really, really clear. I think for me it was understanding the target market and why Anna, and understanding that in a little bit more detail. Not say it could be stereotypical women do the cooking. So just a little bit of feedback for you as a woman watching that. But what I really liked was your credibility at the end. So I think you sharing your experience actually in the food industry was really valuable. Because obviously you've also got the link with the tech industry, but that gave some credibility for me at the end when you talked a little bit about your links with the food industry as well. So yeah, great pitch, really clear, good slides, really understood it. But that would be my little bit of feedback, would just be around your target market, not making it stereotypical, and really that credibility at the end was pretty cool. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Vikki. Thanks a lot.
No worries.
Perfect. Let's go over to Rupert. Rupert, and you didn't brag about it, but if you haven't eaten at Rupert's App Pizza, it's good. Rupert's App Pizza. You didn't plug yourself, but at Pizza at the BullRing is top notch, man. So over to you, Rupert.
Yeah, I agree with Vikki. Good pitch, Rohan, and I think, going back to my story, I get lots of it. You mentioned Gusto, and there are a number of other alternatives. And I've got 2 kids at university, and rather than eat pot noodle, they both order Gusto. Shows we're obviously giving them far too much money for being at university, but it also shows how even 18, 19-year-olds are thinking about what they eat and when they eat it. So I get that completely. I guess, the fact, again, Vikki said you've done it before. So again, huge tick in terms of credibility. You know what you're talking about. You understand the marketplace. I guess my big question would be, how do you compete with these people who are throwing hundreds of millions of quid at advertising with, and particularly you're only wanting 250 grand, and you're doing it from a European perspective. All those things sort of make it feel like that, it's an opportunity that you're only going to be successful at if you've got millions of dollars as opposed to hundreds of thousands. So that would be a key bit of understanding for me.
That's good. You can feedback. We have some time today, so Rohan, if you have an answer to Vikki or Rupert at this point in time, you can respond.
Sure, definitely. I would love to. I was just waiting for the opportunity. So to answer Vikki, I'm so sorry. I mean, it did not mean to come as stereotypical, but whatever research we have done, I will be very honest. And talking about Spain as a market where I come from, that women, our women customers are more health conscious than the male customer. This is what we have seen. They are more conscious about what they eat, how we eat, if it's sustainable, if it's good or not. They are the pioneer in this industry. So that's why the reason, Anna,
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, and
Yeah.
I think communicating that would be
And
brilliant.
it's not about, I'm sorry, it's not about whether she cooks or she cannot cook. She should not cook. I mean, we are entering in the time that nobody has time for cooking, and kitchen would be luxury, like jacuzzi, because if you're traveling 2 hours a day, then who has time? So basically, I didn't have this to say in my presentation, and I just want to say that to you and Rupert. I just want to make eating healthy easy as opening your fridge. That's it. I don't want you to go through the entire trouble of verifying whether it's organic or not, whether it's sustainable or not. And the thing is, regardless of so many players in the market, like Gusto, right? And Gusto is huge, it's massive, but still you have to cook yourself. I want to take out that stress from that friction from your your routine, that let me cook for you, because we have chefs with Michelin star experience, like these kind of things, and we will bring the flavors from all over the world. And even if you're eating meat, a little bit of carnivore food, it will be sustainable, it will be organic. So you can say that, yes, I ate meat, but at least it did not cause any harm to the environment. So that's what I'm trying to crack through this. And Rupert, I'm extremely sorry, but there was some disturbance on your side. I couldn't hear everything that you said. But if I understood your question, is that how would we place ourselves in the market in competition with other players? Am I right, or did I misunderstand the question?
No, that was exactly it, Rohan. There are some big and successful players who are throwing lots of money at it these days. How do you compete with 250,000 pounds when they're throwing tens of millions of pounds at it?
Yeah, so just like the CEO of Deliveroo, Will Shu, says that this industry is just about to reach its potential. It's not there yet. It's still yet to reach its potential, the entire food delivery market. And the overall meal kit industry, is valued at 64.4 billion globally. But in UK alone, the share is like at least 1 to 5 billion in the next 5 to 10 years. And that's why there's so many players. But it's about finding your niche. It's about creating your own tribe of your customers. And that's where we are focusing on 3 key points. That's healthy, organic, and sustainable. Yeah. These are the 3 points we are focusing on. And there are some small players like Diet Chef, for example, or naturalketosis.co.uk. But the thing is, everything is either pre-packaged, like cooked in a 30 days food in one. Ours is weekly, fresh cooked by the chef. It's not only healthy, but it will be delicious. That's what we're trying to achieve.
Rohan, that's good. So I'm going to move on to Alex, because we'll come back to that, because I think that
can I just say one other thing, Bart? I mean, there's a really good book called The Brand Flip by a guy called Martin Neumeier, and he basically says that actually the competition isn't between companies now; it's between tribes, and it's the organizations that can develop the best tribe that will win in the competitive market. And tribes are driven by meaning, and things like health, environment are spot on in the meaning that drives the consumer's purchasing decision around the world at the moment. So it's you're ticking all the boxes from that perspective, Ryan.
Perfect.
Thank you so much.
Cool, Alex chiming in, and then there was a question in the chat also about the length, the shelf life, essentially. But we'll come back to that after Alex gets his spins in here.
Hi, Rohan. Nice to see you again. As you know, always very impressed with what you've been doing. So it's good to reconnect. I suppose I've got two questions and take them with a pinch of salt for sure. The first is, and I think probably extends to what some of the other balls were saying about competitive landscape with HelloFresh, huge number of layoffs at the moment. Gusto was, voicing doing the same thing in the summer. And I know we're not looking at the get here demographic here or the go paths, but again, we know where that sort of is going. So I'd like you take a little bit on that market segment at the moment. And the other side is, and with a pinch of salt, because I might have misunderstood, how much of this business currently is built on the traction of the old one? Because the 250, you're talking about the product development, and a lot of the traction seems to be coming through the past business as opposed to this one. And just wanted to clarify a little bit of that.
So basically, my first project, Vegan Food Club, I have taken a complete exit from the project. I no longer associate to that. However, I do have the trademark property on One Food Club as my own property, which I can use anywhere I want. And that's why this is a complete separate business, and it will be, it's formed and registered in UK. So that's one thing. I'm sorry, the second question was about?
In terms of how much of that traction is being used for this.
So that traction is not being used, but definitely the know-how, since I'm the founder, I conceived this idea 3 years ago, the Vegan Food Club, and I replicated a business model from Mumbai. It's called Dabbawalas, like these people who deliver daily meals to these people. So what I want, the reason why I took an exit from the old project and it has no longer connection with this new project is because I wanted to venture into omni-dietary offering, not just vegan, because vegan is the one part of it. And I don't think people who don't want to eat vegan all the time should be shamed into you're not doing your part. So I think by offering a sustainable, organic and healthy alternative, we are creating a tribe of people who will eat whatever they like, but they will make sure there's no impact of it on their health, on the planet whatsoever. So that's what we're trying to, and I think that's where we place ourselves in the market very cool. And honestly speaking, in terms of sustainability, there's a lot of greenwashing in the market. Even Glovo or Deliveroo, they all say they're planting trees in Colombia. But we are doing carbon reduction in 3 formats: by not using any ingredients which will cause carbon emission, by reducing, by partnering with Stripe, which is one of our carbon reduction partner. And lastly, whatever there will be a little bit emission, we would offset it by planting trees within UK. So that means it's contributing to your own environment, not some faraway country, So that's why we have this model of offsetting the entire.
It's interesting, right? Because you're in Valencia. Valencia is a good location for this to work. There's a huge booming tech demographic outside Barcelona. We know it. You'll target a lot of the Spanish funds like Ecomenda in Barcelona really well. Yeah. And I can see the message working with, your great insight and everything you've done to date. My worry is if you're raising overseas, especially in the UK, my question is going to be, I think the investors will push back a little bit and say, well, this has worked over there. And I think this is what Vicky was saying. And there's got to be a little bit of a separation of what you have done and what's happening now. So,
but wouldn't you say that, the UK is already crowded space for ideas like that?
I'm saying in respect of other countries where you want to raise your capital from.
What didn't work what worked in EU should work in UK in my fair opinion, because the customer mindset is very similar. They both are very environment friendly, very conscious in this case. And the problem is there. The thing is, people do want to cook, but they don't have time, or they don't want to cook. And there is a demand for things like this. People want to eat easily. And lastly, these food delivery apps like Deliveroo or Uber Eats have encouraged a very unhealthy consumer behavior, in terms of consumption of food and all. So there has to be a counter to that. And that's why we are promoting something that just pay some monthly money and figure your week's lunch and dinner out, and then you just don't worry about
I think your insight's great. I just think raising capital in both countries is completely different. So
yeah,
I agree. So here we are. So now let's come back in. I'm going to share my screen here, and we are going to go to the next stage, which is let's see what everybody else thought. So let's get the feedback from the general public. So if we could have a poll for the One Food Club. So do you know what OFC does? Yes, kind of. No. Do you understand the ask? So what the money is or what they're looking for? And then investable or not investable. So if this is your first link, if this is your first BullRing, make sure you follow us on LinkedIn. Share things. There's lots of people on there. You get lots of feedback. We tell you about some of the other pitching things that are happening in the market, and we make sure that everything happens. There it is. So do you understand what you do? Yes, 86% of people that, 93% say there, and let's see what the investable, 36%. But the okay thing that my friend Dr. Ellen Barnard says is you want some hell no's and you want some hell yes. So you've got 36% of people in the room shouting hell yes. So you did very good, Rohan. Thank you very much for putting that forward. It is great. So I'm going to close that, stop my share, and bring on the next picture. So we have Jim from Giganeer, or I mean, I'm sure it's been pronounced multiple different ways. I don't know what other ways that Jim's probably heard it pronounced, but Jim Drew from Giganeer, if you could share your screen.
Can you see me now?
I can see you, and then we will see the screen in a second, I'm sure.
Just 2 seconds.
The beauty of Zoom. So as we're working through this, here we go. And Jim, I can see your screen. And then if you get it to the full presentation mode, I am now getting back to my reset my clock. So Jim Drew from Giganeer, as soon as you get that back up to present, your 5 minutes in the bull ring starts now.
So good afternoon. Over the next 5 minutes, you'll see a glimpse of how engineering will be transformed over the next decade. Unlike the pitch you heard earlier, we're not looking for a financial investment at this time. So please rest easy, sit back, relax, and let me take you on a journey. This is Giganeer, and I am Jim Drew. Earlier this year, Giganeer worked with a company called Instinct Hardware, a premium, but also very traditional door hardware business. Managed now by second-generation family members, what sets them apart is their openness to fresh ideas and the challenge that convention has. Having spent just 6 days on site over a 3-month period, Giganeer installed a bespoke 3D printed rapid change tooling solution that delivered a 40% ROI in less than 8 weeks. And with their new CAD design and IP in place, they were able to reclaim 25% of their total project cost in the form of a ready-built R&D tax credit. So how did such a high return happen? And how did it happen so quickly? And what is Giganeer? Well, first and foremost, Giganeers are hand-picked CTOs or high-end engineers, often overachievers, time served, and proven in their field. We only select team players, those that believe in the power of community and delivering excellence. Interestingly, many of these high-flying execs felt constrained by their previous full-time jobs, or defined by their age, or family, or gender. Well, these have now become the foundation stones of the Giganeer community. The Giganeer community is purpose-built to deliver real engineering value for the UK's manufacturing SMEs, a best-in-class independent freelance engineering talent pool with skills available today. No waiting, no recruitment, no retainers, no recurring costs, just engineers on demand. Accessible, high-level skills matched to your need and delivered in short, affordable project sprints. Outcome-based, we're ensuring that we have skin in the game. And we're going big, building the Giganeer community at the national level, but targeting our delivery at the local level. Okay, well, this is a bit of an eye chart, but by definition, engineering is complex. It covers a broad landscape and is notoriously hard to capture. And in a world where skills are a premium, the convention of employer-led recruitment is failing us. We need to deliver more value from less people. Giganeer offers that new aggregated skills solution. We offer premium skills as a service and as part of a new flexible workforce strategy. Working this way, engineers aren't constrained to touch just one business. Engineers or Giganeers are now encouraged to grow and affect change across the multiple businesses. Imagine just for a moment the effect of one single Giganeer influencing 10 or 20 UK businesses. How efficient and how effective could that be as a model for scale? Today, businesses have 3 choices. On the left, we have conventional recruitment. And on the right, we have the contingent workforce options. On the contract side, if you have already a great network, then yes, it can work for you. But individual contractors often work in silos, charge by the hour, and only know what they know. Then there's the online platforms. Great if you want a website or a bookkeeper, but none of these sites are set up to support SMEs with real hands-on, deep engineering skills. And the reason? Well, because it's difficult. It's difficult to automate. I'm not saying it can't be done, but it's difficult. But Giganeer operates in the space between contracting and recruiting. Just the best engineers on demand and only for as long as you need. Part of the new flexible skills landscape. But is this a viable business, and what does the actual numbers look like? So a quick top-down assessment shows the current contingent engineering market to be worth about 2 billion, but that's majored by the construction industry. The engineering sector that Giganeer are looking at is about 200 million. So that's the total available business. Our best 5-year prediction is that we could obtain a realistic 7.5% share of this, yielding about a £15 million turnover business. And that's without even attacking the current full-time employed sector. Our bottom-up assessment shows the market looking like this: a steady progression for Giganeer, limited only by adoption rates by the SMEs themselves. I'll just give you an indication. On one LinkedIn ad, I had 200 responses from engineers wanting to do this. The supply of skills and infrastructure is already here. We just need to drive demand through proven delivery and awesome marketing and connectivity. And that's where you come in. These are the ads we've been running via social, email, and paid marketing. We're targeting manufacturing SMEs stuck in the recruitment loop, or where talent just can't be accessed. We simply need to multiply our current reach, gain additional traction in the sector, and get stakeholder engagement to be able to scale our efforts. The flexible workforce approach is the way forward, and with your help, Giganeer will play its part at the national level. This is Giganeer. I'm Jem Drew, and thank you for your attention. If you have any questions, please reach back out or connect with us on social or via email, and thank you.
Jim, thank you very much for doing that. Good pitch. I think we have what Giganeer does. I'm going to start off with Alex, since you're unmuted already. So Alex, could you give Jim some feedback, please?
Sure. I probably understand this more from a sort of developer perspective, which I know is less so what you're targeting. So the likes of Le Wagon, General Assembly, and Ironhack, and trying to bring people up. And I find those markets super interesting. They've grown a lot. They have had a load of PE money thrown into them and seen a lot of it. So I suppose my question really is, there's a lot of things going on, which I don't necessarily think is a bad thing, but what's going to be the products and how are you going to scale this? I mean, where do you think the proof of the pudding is going to come in all of this?
Okay, so having run businesses for many, many years, you can probably see I'm a slightly old boy on the block here. The reality is that having the available skills is just no longer there. You can't recruit them. The skills pool is just shrinking. We need to aggregate that. So this is built from both sides of the coin, effectively. One, which is multiple touch points, not necessarily led by the employer, but led by effectively having available resources for employers to be able to actually then access easily. So it's actually that almost a community-led process. And then on from the other side, from the governmental side, it's actually being able to say, look, we can scale this and actually then deliver true leveling up by having multiple touch points by single engineers actually working in multiple locations. So for us, it's really a case of, I see this scaling by growing the pool, making it so that basically there are more engineers involved in this, helping more particular sort of individual SMEs actually around the country. So I think going forward, it will become almost a national resource, which can be pulled upon for local engineering and manufacturing organizations to pull on.
Sure. Forgive me, because I'm probably being naive here. I'm not sure entirely if the question was there. Are you trying to focus more as a sort of recruitment agency, or are you going to build a product and something to actually scale all of this? Because it sounds like you're doing a lot of manual sort of matchmaking at the moment, which I'm sure is something you want to go beyond.
Yeah, it's the bit in the, I've tried to create that space in the middle. It's not quite recruitment because we're not actually selling people. We're selling the ability to actually complete our service. Our statement of work is a complete service. So it's end to end. It's currently outside IR35, but wherever that legislation might end up. The reality is that we're selling a product, but the product is the individual and the delivery of a specific need for a client.
All right, thank you.
Perfect. Let's go to Vicky. We bring you in to have some questions back and forth for Jim.
Yeah, of course. So first of all, well done, Jem. Again, I know it's quite nerve-wracking when you've got to come in and pitch to others. So for me, and I think because I'm from a skills background, I was at points confused about whether this is skills or recruitment and employability. And I was bouncing between the two, because you were talking about fixing a skills problem by having people to be able to go in and do work, I think, within these engineering companies. But my question would be around that suggests to me there isn't enough skills out there to be able to do that. So how are you going to fill the skills gap? Does that make sense, to be able to then have these people to be able to then put them out into the marketplace? So that was the bit for me. I was bouncing between the two. And I think the only other little bit of feedback I'd give you is sometimes there was use of acronyms, which if an investor doesn't understand, they're probably not going to know what that meant. And then they get hung on the acronym trying to figure it out. And it was very, there was a lot of text on some of the pages that was, so when you were talking through one of the slides, it was actually the skills one. I was reading all the slide and I lost a bit, I think, of what you were kind of saying at that point. So that would just be my little bit, because I'm sat there and I'm thinking now, well, if SMEs, I get it, if SMEs are struggling to get the talent, where's the talent coming from? And how are you going to know? Yes, I know you said you've got loads of people on LinkedIn that have reached out to you, but how do you know they're credible? How do you know they're the right level? So all those questions started coming out for me. And sorry if there's a bit more detail, but I think because I'm from that background, that was instantly where my questions were going.
Vicky, the feedback's great. And to be honest with you, I've been struggling over the last 8-9 months to be able to pot the essence of what we're trying to do. It's not recruitment, it's not contracting, but it's taking, let's say, a mix of my age group and also Gen Zs as well, because I've got to be honest with you, actually, there's more similarity between those two age groups than you'd ever want to know with regards to working in a domain where you don't have to work 9 to 5. You work as often or as infrequently as you want. Maybe what I should have done is majored on the fact that we're creating a work environment where engineers want to work that way 6 months of the year, 9 months of the year, delivering engineering value, but also not just having engineering value across one business, but the ability to stretch themselves and then become more advisory across 10 or 20 businesses. And the way that we fix the skills gap is by, rather than having one engineer in one business, employer-led, you have one engineer in the global business, in the Giganeer business, operating across 20 businesses, but operating on a pay-as-you-go style basis over a period of 10 days, delivering 10 days worth of value with one client, and then moving on 10 days later to go and provide 10 days worth of value for another client, and then effectively then having that multiplication factor. So you're getting more from less.
With you. Yeah, I think that just needs being really clear if you want my bit of feedback.
Appreciate it.
No problem.
Perfect. Thank you. Rupert, over to you. You're on mute, sir. You're good now.
Yeah, I think I get this because the challenge for the SME from an engineering perspective is exactly the same of the challenge for an entrepreneur. In that you don't always have the network or the knowledge or the financial ability to recruit somebody who's going to help you with every problem you've got. So from an entrepreneur perspective, you don't have the wherewithal to have in-house counsel, an IP lawyer, a finance director, a property director, a marketing director. So you basically tap into your network and get people to help, and when you need those sort of skills, is that what you're sort of alluding to?
Exactly. I mean, two stats, Rupert, just very briefly. I went to BCU and actually asked them with regards to their project placement, with regards to their graduate placement programs. They did 50 graduates, which they gave to Land Rover. They took 8. And I asked the question, what do you do with the other 42? And the issue there is basically there's going to be a case of we need to try and find positions and places for these sorts of people. And I think going forward, with 99% of businesses in the UK employing less than 50 people, we're getting a fragmentation of the market. So there's an increasing demand from a smaller business pool and actually less available talent to be able to fill those gaps. So the issue is we have to do something. And having had 35 years of not being able to get solutions to these problems, I thought I'd step away from running a business to actually then create my own.
So okay, but could you, what I'm struggling a bit with is actually the customer journey. I get why people are retiring early, but they're not actually retiring. They want to keep their fingers in pie, so they're happy to work 1-2 days a week, do little projects, etc. So I understand how the the baby boomers are now thinking about how they slide into retirement, and I can see why the gig economy has made lots of younger people think like that. But how does it work from a customer perspective? Because they will have a specific engineering need, and I guess their the choices at the moment is that they go to a consultant and pay them a small fortune. They recruit somebody themselves, and you never know whether the person's right, and you pay a big fee for it, or you try and find somewhere through a network. And I guess that's what you're trying to plug. So how does it work from a customer perspective? What's the customer journey?
Okay, 100% what you've just said. So the reality is that, as you say, there's a unique requirement. A statement of work is built around that. The operational performance of Giganeer is that we create the statement of work, which is chargeable. We then issue that to the client. The client then decides whether to proceed or not. If they do proceed, within our group, we can actually then see who is the best skill to be allocated to doing that job. And the reality is that we actually then, that job might have 8 different aspects, from design to pre-delivery to production to whatever. So the reality is we actually can spin this around and pull the best resources necessary to deliver the whole sequence from start to finish. And that's the difference between this individual unique contractor who knows what they know, and effectively by having a pool, a generic pool of skills across a broad portfolio that can deliver all of these aspects in one particular delivery mechanism under the Giganeer umbrella.
Yeah. And just finally, and subject to IR35, of course, do the individual contractors bill themselves? Do they charge themselves, or does it go through Giganeer, or how does the charging model work?
So one of the big attractions of working with Giganeer is that these people don't have to set up their own businesses. And as a consequence, we actually then do all the financial transactions for them.
But is there a danger you then just become another big consultancy, taking a slice off everything, and it becomes a lot less cost competitive as it might be at the beginning?
This is the reason why it's community-based and why we've actually decentralized the whole arrangement. We don't want to work from big offices. We actually want to work in this cloud space. This is actually how the agility, I think, will be created going forward.
Cool.
Thank you very much. JR, you had a question?
Yeah, more of a comment than anything else. I went to a presentation by a consultant. Maybe he was charging a lot of money, I don't know. But the purpose of the talk was to highlight for CEOs how the fractional economy could work through these various platforms. And I was just reaching behind me to find it, right? And this was the big handout. So I guess it might, maybe, judging by the size of the handout, maybe how expensive it was. But my point is, Jem, that I'm sure he would be happy to give you some advice on how to make the most of your platform to either clarify the communication and the notes, because the way he makes his money is now by advising larger organizations on the key elements of which solution to find from these fragmenting platforms, of which it sounds like yours might be one. But I'll put his LinkedIn details in a direct message to you.
I really appreciate that feedback. This is exactly why I've done this. I want to improve the messaging. I really do appreciate all the feedback by every one of you. So thank you for that. It is a difficult approach, but I do want to fix this problem because it's a real world existing issue and it needs to be fixed.
Perfect. That is great. Jim from Giganeer. Let's see what everybody else thought. So let's go and see what the audience does on the poll for Giganeer. There you are. While you're doing that, once you're done, we are doing our peer-to-peer group meeting on November 15th. If you want to come out, go ahead and scan that and you can get some more information. Hopefully that will help you out going into this interesting new year. So who would have known that we would have started off this session with a prime minister and then no prime minister? So quite interesting as we go along today. So we are getting to the 29, so we're almost there. So there it is. We say kind of, so Jim got us to the kind of spot for the majority of people. We got to, do you understand what the ask is there? Investable or not investable? You had 25% of the heck yes. So that was really, really good. Thank you very much for doing that for us, Jim. And we will now move on to, and we don't have a third pitcher or a fourth pitcher today. So we're going to move straight into actually, we're going to do the top pitch. So we're going to bring this in and we're going to talk to everybody else. So we had 2 pitches today. This is audience feedback. So top pitch of the day. Everybody could fill it in as we go along.
My apologies, the name is wrong.
It's my challenge there. It was One Food Club. You changed it in the middle. So it was mine. I put it in there at that point in time. So Karma Delivery is actually One Food Club.
Yeah, the both are great names, I would say. And
that was my missing out on the last bit there. So there it is. Today's winner for the top pitch is One Food Club. Thank you very much. Both of you did well. Thank you very much for doing that. And what we're going to do now is we go back to the feedback section. Before we get to here, so we'll go to, remember, we're going to do the big Olay. So this is your chance, guys. So here it is. We get the feedback for everybody. Mike, we're going to start with you. Then we'll go Vicky, we'll go Alex, and we'll go Rupert. So Mike, if you could just give us overall feedback for us.
Yeah, overall feedback, great energy coming through from both of you pitching today. And what I like about it was obviously we had that little bit more time, so the questions could really get quite personal. And therefore there was not quite debates, but there was quality discussions going on with the Bulls, which meant we were digging in deeper. Couple of things just to feedback general on the performance, because I know there'll be other bits coming through on that. Slide content, again, we still need to just try and reduce the word count and whatever else, things like that, because if people are reading slides and they get distracted, and then are they reading the slide or are they listening to you? And that's the combination. So the slides are an aid memoir for the audience. They're not there to be read. They're not there for over detailing. If there's a slide deck that can be provided separately, which has all the detail and inside leg measurements and everything else, but let the slides just be visual and supportive. And in 5 minutes, using any more than 4 or 5 slides is really superfluous anyway. And the other one, which is always what I'm going to say, and I realized I wasn't doing a lot of it in the last 30 seconds, is make sure you smile. If you've got a face like a smack bum, nobody wants to talk to you. So we need to have the engagement, because if we get you, we like you, we fall in love with you, etc., then we're likely to invest and do business with you. If we feel as cold and shut down, then we've got to get that smiling engagement going on, even though it's your life savings and your grandchildren's teeth you're trying to pay for and everything else in the future. It's serious, but we've got to enjoy it.
Perfect. Thank you, Mike. Okay, Vicky, your feedback?
Yeah, my feedback is both really well done, because 5 minutes is not easy. And you got actually a lot in. And I think, agreeing with Mike, there was a lot of questions that come through. I think if I was to give a piece of advice, it would be to look at it, maybe have somebody look at it that isn't from your space. So, for example, on the engineering one, I can tell you're an engineer by the way your presentation's constructed and the level of detail and everything. So if you were talking to a group of engineers, they would be well on board with this. So I think it'd be really an exercise for you to see if you shrink them slides down and as if you were not talking to engineers. I think it would really help you. And but yeah, great slides, great presentations, and yeah, well done to both of you.
Perfect. Thank you, Vicky. Over to you, Alex.
On mute. Yeah, no, I see a lot of progress coming through, a lot of the energy, just to echo Mike. And I think, as ever, there's a lot of really good things there. It's just understand your audience, understand who you're trying to raise money for and what that ask is at the end of the day. A lot of people quite rightly go out there, and Jem, that's what I appreciated with you. It wasn't the raise, it was more the feedback and how you're developing. And there's clearly a lot of really good stuff there, but just being clear what you want from people. Sitting on the fence can be, and this, I'm saying generally, can make things a little bit more convoluted. So just being clear there, who you're focusing, what market, and that will take you a long way.
Perfect. Thank you for that. And Rupert, finally over to you.
The key thing I would go back to was the thing I led off with, and that is actually you both need to tell a story. Vicky made the point. You know, you could see why Jem would get a reaction from both engineers and probably from manufacturing businesses, but you're pitching to people who don't live in that space 24/7. So step back from the coalface and just think about what it is that you need to say that's going to grab hearts and minds.
Perfect. Thank you very much. That brings us on to our new spot, the Big Ole. So I have a slide for it, but let's just put up the how about if we put up the poll. So here's a challenge. Most constructive feedback today, most inspirational bull of the day. So there you have it. So not the best person. So here we go.
Can I vote for myself, Pat?
You can vote for yourself if you want to. So it's like, oh, we're good. They're flying in. It's okay, guys.
I feel like you should have to vote for yourself, and we can screenshot you taking a vote for yourself. I think it's a requirement for all of you.
Good. Come on, you guys we're flying in, but we're not that fast. You got to be a little bit more. We have to be some judgy. So cool. We'll share it. We'll share it now. There we go.
Vikki's back in the race.
Oh, Alex pipped it. Look at that. Pipped it by 1. That's what it was. Rupert.
Sorry, Vikki. Sorry, Rupert.
It's great. Thank you so much for showing up today. Thank you very much to
Was that the vote for the bull with the least bull?
yes.
Does that mean Alex has got most bull?
Yeah, that definitely does. It's very good, Alex.
In that case, coming last is a good thing.
That could be. It's like golf. It's like golf. Lower score, least bull. That's good. So hopefully that was a bit of fun that we have in there. This is our last bull ring for the year. We'll be back in January. Thank you very much to our bulls for coming out today, to Vikki, to Alex, and to Rupert. You can chase them all down on LinkedIn. Jim and Rohan, your information will go out to everybody in the newsletter afterwards. Great pitches today. And thank you very much to everybody that showed up, participated, and made everything happen. Thank you for coming out and supporting the bull ring as usual. And we look forward to you guys having a great finish to your year, and we'll start out the year well. So thank you very much and have a great day.